This is the first solo exhibition in a UK public institution by German-born, London-based painter Tomma Abts, and it brings together the largest number of paintings she's ever shown in one space. Tomma Abts has been working more or less to the same canvas size for the past 20 years, of 48 by 38 centimetres. She always begins with the same process, not knowing what she's going to paint, and starting off with a very quickly applied wash of acrylic paint, over which she begins to methodically layer oil. Tomma, when we invited you to make an exhibition for the Serpentine Gallery, you immediately responded to the particular space of the Sackler Gallery rather than the original Serpentine Gallery. Can you talk a little bit about what appealed to you about this space?
Yes, I was definitely drawn to the Sackler Gallery out of the two Serpentine galleries because I could see the possibility of hanging my work in a sequence, in a continuum. I was really interested in the perimeter galleries. When I have institutional exhibitions and get a larger group of paintings back, I really think very, very carefully about the sequence and the sense of movement that the viewer experiences while seeing the show. And I know the Sackler is perceived as a difficult exhibition space, and I think I'm always tempted by difficult spaces rather than the easier, prettier spaces. So obviously we had the issue of the powder rooms to solve, and there were different ideas along the way, but I think in the end I came back to what drew me to the gallery in the beginning, that there's a line of my work going around the perimeter. For me, it was quite a crucial moment when I realized I definitely want to leave the powder rooms empty, and I also want to bring them back to how they were originally left by the architects, stripped back to brick walls, so that when the viewer would enter the gallery, he would look at the brick wall first and would be directed straight away to the perimeter galleries, to the sequence of the installation of paintings. And what was quite exciting to me was that this would also emphasize the sight lines through the powder rooms. That while you would walk through the show, you could get a glimpse of the paintings on the other side of the powder rooms, and that it could maybe be quite a filmic experience because you walk by and you see the paintings on the other side sort of passing by.
There's definitely a sense of compressed time in your paintings in that they are built up through layers over time. There's a sense of accrual and accretion, the way that certain areas of the painting are left with gaps that take you back almost to the very first layers of paint that you apply. Unusually for somebody who's worked more or less to the same format for 20 years, in this exhibition we have a few variations that you've started to introduce over the past few years: shaped canvases, two-part canvases, casts, and larger paintings. Can you talk a little bit about why you started to introduce shaped canvases, for example?
So I obviously plan the shape of the stretcher I get made, because sometimes people ask me if I sort of cut something off afterwards, but that's not how it works. For me, it's like the first decision I make for the painting. Like in another painting, it might be the first wash of color I put down, but with a shaped canvas, my first decision is, okay, I'm gonna give it a round corner, and then I see where that gets me. The first time I made a cast of a painting was in 2006, and it happened because I had worked for a very long time on one painting, and the layers and the lines that had built up were really interesting to me. So I decided to really emphasize this. I would try and cast the painting in aluminium. For me, it was basically a way to resolve this painting. Halfway through working on a painting, I decided I would now continue to work on it in order to cast it. And of that painting, I made actually two casts that are both in this exhibition, one in aluminium and one in bronze, because the surface is so different that for me they are two completely individual paintings.
And the other new element that we have in this exhibition is 3 paintings that have been made at a larger format for the first time. Can you tell us a little bit about how they differ from your smaller paintings?
I've been thinking about working on a bigger format that would relate to my large-scale drawings for quite a long time, but couldn't really settle on a format I was comfortable with. At first I thought I would make much bigger paintings maybe than I have done now. And I realized I still wanted to be able to do everything by hand. I never used tape, so I didn't want to tape anything off. So this is a size I can still work on manually within the reach of my arm. And these paintings are pretty much worked out beforehand. They are really planned before I make them. So for me, they're a completely different way of working. They really don't relate to the smaller works. It's a completely different process.